Hey everybody, and welcome to my plus size grandma. As you can hear, I feel a little bit better. I got some rest in and I got some things off of my chest, and I was like, Lord, let me just go tell the people something so they don't be so scared and stuff like that, to think that just because you say the word schizophrenia or bipolar that people don't have what they call a normal life. Because as I was listening at my son, let me tell you something. People who have mental illness issues have some of the most creative and bright ideas. If you listen to them, and I write down some of the things that my son says, because a majority of the time they do make sense. He just can't organize it, but it does make sense what he says. And he just can't, make it happen right then and there. And yeah, the hallucinations are horrible. But, whenever you learn about this stuff and educate yourself on it, you can deal with things a lot better and not be so scared of those words. First of all, those are just words. Those are labels. Those are labels that society has created so that, whenever someone needs to know what's going on with you, you can say, hey, this is what I got. So when you say schizophrenia, you automatically know the symptoms that come with it. But what people don't know is that 1 in 5 people recover from schizophrenia. 1 in 5 people do recover. And I'm one of the 1 in 5 people that has recovered from it. And I have my moments, but I've learned how to react to them. And that's the most important thing, is learning what triggers you, what doesn't trigger you. And that's why I teach the Kiva class, because in that class, and it's on this, it's actually on this station that you're listening to now. You can go in those classes and go all the way back to the beginning, where I'm teaching about how to know yourself. When you know yourself, you can overcome the challenges that come with mental illness and schizophrenia and bipolar and stuff. Now, a little bit about my history. I talk about it all the time, but a little bit about my history is that it started actually when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I had a thing for numbers. I had a thing for math, geometry, writing. I just always wanted to do all these things. I'm telling you, I had so many things that were flowing in my brain when I was young. And I even see that in some of my sisters and them, like they have so many great ideas, but the thing is, some of the stuff never gets completed because the mind is constantly working and working. And I've seen several psychiatrists since the age of 7 years old. I found only one thing that worked with me. I've been on different medications. I was on Zoloft. I was on Trazodone. I'm still on Trazodone. As a matter of fact, I'm still on Trazodone for anxiety sometimes. Because sometimes I do get worked up to a max. When I get super stressed out, I get worked up and I can't control it to bring it down. So if it don't come down with exercising and walking and stuff like that, that's when I turn to my medication. And this is a disclaimer: do not stop taking your medication just because I said this. Now, don't stop. If your doctor got you on medication, because it takes a team. It takes a team of people to work with you to get you where you need to be. And that's even with my son. My son, he's got a team of people. Only thing was, he wasn't working with the team. It actually takes you being vulnerable and trusting people to tell them what's going on with you. So over in my time, a lot of people don't know this about me. And in one of my relationships, one of the guys found the paperwork on me, and he used it against me. He would call me names with it and stuff, and I ain't going into that because I don't want to dwell on that. But that's just to say that in 98, when it really hit the height of my depression, it was in 1998. Matter of fact, let me see how old I was when it hit really the height of depression, where I was the same age as my son. Let me see how old I think I was the same age. Let me see, 1998. I was born in 76, so I'm on the calculator looking. Yeah, I was 22 years old. 22 years old when it hit me. And I'm going to tell you what happened. This is what happened. I was in a bad relationship. And I was young. I was with, a guy who I just held in so much stuff that I wanted to let out. And I never let that stuff out. And it was just, I could feel the thoughts in my head racing. I would go to sleep thinking all these thoughts and stuff. And it was just so much. I would want to say so much to people. And I was acting out. I was suicidal. I was suicidal for a while. If you look at my arm is, these cut marks look fresh. They still look fresh. These cut marks on my arm, I may put up a picture of them. When I was 23 years old, I put these marks on my arm. I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to cut myself up because I didn't think that my life was worth living because my relationship was bad. Here I was with 2 kids. I didn't know if I was coming or going. And on top of that, what really struck it up was, your job. If you love to work, that's what you love to do. You love to work. And what happened was I shut down emotionally and physically because I lost my job. And how I lost my job was I got hurt. I got hurt working at Renfro. And when I hit the machine to put the socks on, it split my nerves in two, going from my thumb finger and my index finger all the way up to my elbow. Those nerves got damaged. And I could no longer work using this hand, my left hand. I could no longer hold things in it. And I couldn't do a whole lot with my left arm. And a lot of people do not know that just by looking at me. My kids had to help tote stuff all the time. If I tote something like grocery bags in my left arm, my socket falls out. My arm falls out my socket and it just goes all the way almost down to my ankles and stuff. And I was going through a hard time. I couldn't get money. I was so depressed. I remember I was so depressed. I didn't want to live because I didn't think nobody loved me. I couldn't tell my mom I did tell my mom and them. I was mean to my mama and daddy. When I see my son, I guess that's how I could take so much because I see so much of me in him. And I know if God did it for me, He gonna do it for him too. I was so mean to my mama and my daddy. Even when my daddy would be like, well, it's this relationship. You need to let this man go. He putting too much stress on you. And I didn't listen to my daddy. That was one of the times that I went against my daddy so bad. And Lord knows I'm a daddy's girl. But a man will turn you against your parents. A bad man, the wrong man, will turn you against your parents. Or the wrong woman will turn you against your parents. But what I did, I kept, just doing what I was doing, thinking I was fine. And on top of that, I was drinking. And then I started doing drugs. Heavy. I was doing drugs heavy, drinking heavy. And I was feeling more and more suicidal. I stayed suicidal for the longest. I probably up until I was up in the suicidal feelings didn't leave until I became single. The thought of not loving myself didn't leave until I became single. I mean, for real. I didn't love myself like that. That's why I would just do whatever people told me to do or try to look more than what I was. I had a grandiosity spirit about me where I didn't think I was God, but I thought I was on top of the world, and whatever I said people had to do. They had to move right then. Else it would piss me off. I was aggressive. I was violent. I was very violent. People don't know, but I was very violent. I hit people with my car. I ran my car into light poles and into ditches. I ran my car into mailboxes on the road. I would run people off the road. And a lot of people thought that it was just regular anger because of what a man did. But it wasn't. It was actually part of the things that I was going through. I was seeing the people. Well, let me put it like this. I kept seeing the guy that I was with over and over. I kept seeing him with other women. I mean, it would feel so real to me that he was there with other women. I was having hallucinations, making up all these illusions in my head that he was with this woman or that woman. But I never actually saw any of it, except for maybe toward the end of the relationship. That's when I really started seeing things for what they were. And, even though I was going to church, it was a bad time. And I'm going to take my time and explain this. So this podcast may go longer than 15 minutes because this is my therapy. And I tell y'all that all the time, that this is my therapy. This is what keeps me off of medication, when I can let it out and not walk around the house just talking to myself, I went through a whole lot of that. I felt like I was so ugly during that time in 98. And as you can tell, I probably jump ideas and stuff because that's from the drug use and damage. But God has been good. I ain't complaining about how I jump as long as I know what I'm saying. But I thought I was so ugly. I thought I was so ugly just because I did not have the money. Even though people told me I was pretty, they was like, you're a good person. They couldn't understand. I was dying on the inside. I felt like the most raggedy person, even though I was successful. Listen, y'all, I was successful because I got my home at 17. I was doing things to just get people's attention, to make them brag on me. But yet on the inside, I still felt like a failure. I felt like I was no good. I felt like I was a monster. I felt like I couldn't be around people like that. Society, being out in social events was hell on me. It was hell. It was terrorizing. I was wondering who's talking about me. Are they talking about me? I couldn't even go in a grocery store for years. People don't know that about me. You rarely see me in a grocery store now. I mean, for real, just being honest. You rarely see me in a grocery store now. And it takes a lot out of me to go into a grocery store. But I tell myself, no, I didn't hear them say anything. So I'm going to go ahead on in the store. And because you have to be aware of Satan's devices. And some of that stuff that we think in our head, the negativity. That's why I'm an advocate, and I love that mental health is not just about taking medication, but it's about speaking out the things that you feel on the inside and feeling comfortable speaking that with people that you trust, because it helps a whole lot to get that stuff out what you're feeling. And I had several teams that I work with that helped me to get that stuff out, that helped me to realize that no, it's just in your head. Well, they didn't say it like that, but they let me know that if you did not hear it, then chances are, or if you did not see it, then you're just overthinking things. They had a way to put it that I could relate to what they were saying, and I started living by that. See, I'm trying to tell y'all on today, whatever you learn, because a lot of this stuff, the schizophrenia and the mental illness, is learned pattern behaviors. Whatever you learn can be unlearned. Listen at me now. Whatever you learn can be unlearned. If you learned how to smoke dope, guess what? You can learn how to unlearn how to smoke dope. And it takes time, and it's not as fun, but it can be done. If you learn how to cuss people out and have aggression, it can be unlearned. Because we're not born with these things. Sure, some children are born, with certain things going on with them, but they learn how to adapt. And that's how you got to look at mental illness. It's just like high blood pressure and diabetes. You wouldn't walk around saying that person there got high blood pressure. There go a heart attack walking. You don't walk around saying that. You just leave it at high blood pressure and treat the people the same. And that's all that I ask that anybody do with anyone who has mental illness. Just treat them like they're somebody. They're feeling lost. They're feeling unloved. They don't even have the heart to really love themselves like they want to, because they have got so lost and so caught up in the drama of life. And it's so easy to get caught up in the drama of life that you lose reality. I lost reality. When I was cutting my arm, I thought I was Superwoman. I thought I could take it off and it'll grow back or whatever it do. I had those issues, and I did it for years. My mama knew something was wrong with me, but to tell you the truth, I got a lot of the stuff from my mama. I mean, being real about it, I'm looking